Hi, hello, how are you? And welcome back to another speed build. You've probably seen the titles, so you kind of have an idea of what's going on. I took to Instagram to ask you, the lovely viewers, what, like all the decisions I would normally, well, most of the decisions I would normally make about a build, and then I had to build within the guidelines you sent me. I asked a total of 6 questions, I think. You'll see the questions. It'll be okay. And then I started building. And you guys, I was so impressed with, actually, well, impressed, I guess, but surprised definitely by how many of like my Instagram followers actually participated in the polls to make the decisions. And I don't know, it was great. And this was really fun. And I'm glad I did it. So let's just get started with kind of what the guidelines are. The first question I asked was, should I do a room build or a full lot? And you guys, 71% of you said full lot, which I kind of expected over room build. You know, it's just, as someone that also watches build videos, it's more fun to see someone build an entire lot because you get so much more inspiration that way, I think. And I mean, I don't know. It's also easier to download a full lot than little rooms and then still have to build your own thing. I don't know. And then after that, I was like, okay, full lot, which again, I expected. And I was like, should I build a house or another venue? And I didn't know which way this would go, one or the other, but you guys were very, very ready for another venue, 80%. And I was like, okay, which I was not mad about that at all. Because, you know, when you go and build in The Sims, the kind of go-to is a house. Because even if you go, like your Sims will travel, obviously, but you play mostly in your Sims house. So we care so much more about the houses than we do the other venues. As long as the other venues get the job done, we're usually fine. Because we don't play with them as much. And so, other venue it was. And here we are in this other venue. What is it? You know from the title. It's okay. Well, maybe I didn't put it in the title what it is. And then I was like, okay, here's the real question. And this is the one I was most worried about. I was like, should it be a base game build or any pack? And I was so worried. Or well, I was kind of worried that you guys would say base game because I was like, what am I going to do? It's not a house and it's base game. And I mean, there are lots of options, obviously, but I was just like, base game is so limiting. But you guys, 100% of you said any pack. And I was like, well, that was overwhelming. Okay. And then I asked you realistic or fantastic, as like a realistic build or a build that I was just kind of like free for all, aliens, fairies, giant furniture, you know, whatever. And most of you, or 60% of you, also said realistic, which I was cool with. And then the last question was indoor or outdoor. But before I reveal the answer to that, which I mean, you're watching the video, so you know what the answer is. With the packs, I was thinking making the suggestion, like let you guys, if it was gonna be like a third option, which was any pack or a specific pack. And I was going to let you guys pick the pack. And if it was one I hadn't had, I would have bought it because the only ones I'm missing now are stuff packs. And that would have been fine. But it would have been so difficult and there would have been so many polls to make you guys like vote one pack at a time and have like kind of this pack tournament to see. So I opted out. But anyway, the last question was indoor, or actually that was not the last. That was the second to last question. I lied. Whoops. It was indoor, outdoor. You guys, 75% of you chose outdoor. So here we are in the out of doors. And then the last question was a 30 by 30 lot or a 30 by 20 lot. I thought about doing lot options that were a lot more like a bigger variance inside, because 30 by 30 and 30 by 20 are fairly similar lots. One's a square, one's a rectangle. I thought about doing like a very small lot versus a very big lot, but I really am not. I wasn't feeling doing a 64 by 64 lot for a challenge. And 83% of you voted for a 30 by 30 lot. So where are we? We are on a 30 by 30 lot outdoors building a Boujee, I can't believe I just said that, Bark Park, or, you know, a dog park. And I've been meaning to build a dog park for quite some time. But I was not planning on building a quote unquote bougie. How do you spell bougie? Is it bougie or bougie? I don't know. I've never said that word before until this moment. Oh God. Um, but so I was like going to build your standard dog park, kind of heavily inspired by the dog park I take my real life dog to. And then I was like, what if this was a fancy dog park? Like, people come here with their dogs, but they don't want to get dirty. And they also, like, everything has to be super, super high standard. And I was like, let's do it. And so commence the building of the Boujee Dog Park. And then I also, you'll notice there are other things, and that's because I made it meet the requirements of a park in The Sims. So there's playground equipment, and there's a chess table and a bathroom and all that good stuff. I thought about putting a place to eat in here, but I was like, no, that's okay. It doesn't need to be that bougie. We don't need to eat food. You'll notice I did section a part off in the beginning, and that's where I put all the training equipment, and that's because I know in my dog park and in a lot of dog parks, there's a separate section that has training equipment. It's a smaller section, and then it's also a place, the smaller section, where people can take older dogs or dogs that don't necessarily get along with lots of other dogs. And so that's what I imagine that little section is a training area, place where you can take older dogs that can't do the stress of all the stuff and like stuff like that. And then there's the whole dog park, and I put this lake in the middle of it, and I love doing bodies of water, and I had to restrain myself because I realized at the end when I was adding all the stuff like the plants and stuff to the pond that this is the Boujee Bark Park, and the water's not going to be that gross. And so I ended up changing. You'll see the very last second, I changed the color of the water. And I'm kind of still not, like, the water's clear now because I'm like, people take care of this lake. At my dog park, there is a lake in the middle, and it does have an island in the middle of it. It's not a lake you can swim in. It's it naturally collects rainwater, and that's how the lake formed. And you can't get to the island because it's so far. It's I guess if you scaled this dog park up to real world proportions, the lake still wouldn't be as big as the one at my dog park. But anywho, the water's really gross. Like, you don't even want the dogs to go in it because a dog that swims in the lake at the dog park is like 100% gonna get really sick. But I was like, these people pay a lot of money to go to this dog park, so people are keeping track of the lake and the water's pH balance and the algae counts and all this stuff. So the water will be cleaner and people will actually swim in it and all that stuff. And then I also landscaped a little bit, but like minimally, because it's supposed to be fancy, but also dogs tear stuff up. So I tried to make it look like a place that dogs would actually play, but also a place where people that don't want to get their clothes dirty would hang out. I don't know. I can't imagine ever seeing a dog park like this. So maybe that takes away from the realism. But actually, that's a lie. I was watching a Molly Burke video where she was talking about taking her dog to the dog park when she was visiting a friend in Beverly Hills or Hollywood or something. Like, you have to be a Beverly Hills or Hollywood resident, and you have to have proof, and the dog has to have a Beverly Hills or Hollywood license or whatever to get into the dog park. So this is that dog park. Super bougie. What does that word even mean? I just like the idea of the title Boujee Bark Park. So that's where we're at. This challenge, I probably should have said this in the very beginning, but this challenge was inspired by, like, I've seen a lot of vloggers lately doing things where it's Instagram followers controlled my life, or Instagram followers pick this or that. And I was like, that'd be cool for a build. And so we did it. You guys controlled my build. I wish I could have done, now that I've done it, I wish I could have done maybe a few more questions to make it a little harder for me. I still had a lot of free reign. And if I had had time, which I didn't, but in the future, if I were to do something like this again, I would make the polls live. Like, I would do them as I was building. But I gave you guys several hours for each poll to answer them, just because, like I said, I did not expect as many people to participate as they did, and I'm so glad you did, because none of the percentages were super crazy. Although I do believe with the fantasy versus realistic one, that one was at 50-50 for a while, if I remember correctly. But yeah, Like the Sorry Girls did one where they let their Instagram followers control their DIY, and as they were buying things and like picking what they were doing, they would tweet photo or Instagram photos and do the polls in their stories for how their DIY would go. And that would have been really cool. But I wasn't home when I was sending the polls for the most part. I was actually at work and or posting the polls, and I didn't expect the response to be fast enough or large enough in enough time that I could sit down and build while I asked you guys questions. So I did all the polls and then I built the build, and I'm really happy with it. This build, I'll probably replace the dog park in 100 Rescue Challenge with this build. Scandalous, I know. It's not very, I guess it's not super Brindleton Bay. This is more like a San Myshuno type dog park. Very fancy with the glass fences and stuff. But you can put it wherever your Sims are the fanciest, right? Oh, if this was an EA build, it'd be called like Land Grab Dog Park or something, because they own everything. But anyway, I really enjoyed this challenge and I hope you guys like watching it. I am going to let you go though. Oh, also, before the screenshots roll through, a last thing that I did with this build video that I haven't done before is I did what I'm going to call live action screenshots. So instead of just taking screenshots of the build, I took screenshots of the build with Sims in it. So you'll see pictures of some Sims, mostly townies, my bad, using the dog park, which I think is pretty cool because you get to see it literally like come to life in screenshots. So yeah, let me know what you think of that. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!